Welcome back, YouTube. We're going to be talking about some of the bigger macro events in this video and why DCA and coin count, primarily coin count, is going to matter the most during this cycle. Because what you'll see is a lot of FUD and a lot of uncertainty coming out in the markets. And we're going to see more of that. And this is why I have this picture with Donald Trump up here, because this is going to certainly spill over into the political arena later this year. We're going to have a lot of volatility around that. But make no mistake that the banks are buying. They are absolutely hedging into these positions and getting into crypto. And the name of the game for a bank is simply to make money. They are not there to lose money. We're going to go over several of the biggest banks and how they've been buying and hedging themselves into crypto. So you can kind of expect what this is going to do to the market overall. Because a lot of times, before I get into the video, I just want to point out, because a lot of times people get into cycle to cycle and they think, oh, okay, well, I bought 2 years ago and I want this to, moon or give me X return within the next 24 months. And when you are actually early, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed when they realize that they should have been in this space for longer instead of looking at the short term, like a 1 year or 2 year. Imagine getting in the stock market when it first opened. And like this is literally what we are. We're on the cusp of crypto becoming wrapped and being like a foundational part of the largest economy in the world, which is the United States. And you were in crypto before that. I think people are underestimating what that means for the overall price position. So I want to look here. This is the kind of point I said. It's just in Bitcoin Magazine CEO David Bailey has been working with Donald Trump campaign to develop their Bitcoin and crypto policy agenda. In case you know what that means, that pretty much means it's kind of like in response to the House and Biden shooting down some of the progressive ETFs and crypto pairing, I guess you can call it, with the banks and them being able to hold custody of certain cryptos. That was some legislation that passed a few days ago. And so Trump has been on the campaign trail saying that he's pro crypto and that he is going to find a way as far as to make it work, make it accessible. He doesn't have an issue with it. And so this is being an angle that's being taken now. I want to point out several things here. This is more so around these numbers here before we take a look at charts. It says, breaking: America's largest bank, JP Morgan Chase, discloses spot Bitcoin ETF holdings in new SEC filing. So that's JP Morgan, right? One of the largest banks in the country, right? We're not going to necessarily get in there. You can take a look at these on Bitcoin Magazine, but I just want to point out the fact that these banks are now holding, they're hedging in into the crypto, right? So Edmund D. Rothschild revealed it holds BlackRock and Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETFs, right? So that's number 2, right? This is all within the last 24 hours, right? Let's see. Japanese public company MetaPlanet bought an additional 19.87 Bitcoin. I'm looking at banks here. I know there's some people more. Rubric Capital Management is now owning BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETFs, right? So number 3, Wells Fargo Bank reveals it has spot Bitcoin ETF exposure in new SEC filing, right? And so we're looking at, and I really want to point out this fact that these banks pretty much control, or they're our middleman for getting money, loans, credit cards, auto loans, mortgages, just really everything, right? And they're all hedging into Bitcoin. This is not for people to say, oh, okay, well, the run's over, or crypto market has peaked, or it's a scam that's not going anywhere. This is not a coincidence. These banks are not buying into these spot ETFs. They're not getting exposure into crypto so that they can lose money, right? Their job is to make money. So you have to kind of read the room here and know what's coming overall for these allocations. And when you start looking at things here, there's going to be a lot of spillover. There's going to be, when you have these, because at some point Bitcoin is going to become a institutional game, right? And it's very close to doing that, probably this cycle or next cycle. And price point wise, it's not going to be, as far as return wise, it's not going to make a lot of sense to buy Bitcoin at like 400K and the amount of money it's going to take to get to 800K, for example, compared to something like Doge going from 15 cent to 30 cent. The capital disparity is going to be absolutely astronomical. So there's going to be spillover. And that's where you have to make sure that you're positioned in the right coin so that you're going to be able to capitalize off of some of that spillover. And that's what I mean by DCA and coin count is going to be absolutely fundamental going forward. So let's take a look here at the charts and the price action. I want to point out a couple things because it certainly matters where we're at, especially where this trend is. So this is what I was talking about. If you're able to catch it, if we go below 15 or something like that again, that's certainly the best place to buy it. But buying at the equilibrium at around 15, setting yourself up for the major run before crypto becomes the hot topic during the campaign trail and all that kind of good stuff later on, because the stage has been set. Crypto is going to be a topic of discussion later this year, and it's going to be affected based off of the markets. And we know that for a fact, right? The second fact is we know that if you are a president and you want to be reelected, the markets need to be doing relatively well during your campaign, right? So if we start to get a Q3, Q4 pump out of nowhere and it just looks like magic, don't be surprised, right? We can expect typically these markets to perform well around election time, because if you want any shot at being elected, that's typically, if you just go back and look at the election years, markets typically do well when a president has an opportunity to get a second term. So that's going to be very fundamental as far as getting a time frame as far as where you need to be positioned at prior to earlier this year. If you have the opportunity to just think about your numbers and having the coin count. The coin count is going to be your multiplier. A lot of times people say, I'll just buy a few coins and then now I need the actual price of the coin. If I want to hit my target, I need it to go exponentially higher. But you can hit those same numbers, whatever that dollar amount is, just by simply having more coins. And, obviously that's a personal decision. That's up to you, but it's just something to kind of keep in your back of your mind, is that your coin count is going to be your multiplier. And if you are looking at taking profits somewhere around the election, for example, or Q1 2025, somewhere around our historic levels, our historic highs, based off of the bull run charts, you need to just kind of make sure you're in position. So make sure that you are not waiting on evidence of the coin to go up, because people that are buying here and on this trend here, these are typically the people that get upset, right? Or the ones that say, oh, okay, well, I should have sold at 22. You're selling at the beginning of the bull market. Now, obviously, again, do what you want, but read the room, look at what the banks are doing, look at what's the topic of discussion against the two people that are battling to lead the country. Read the room and make that decision based off if you're doing the right thing or if you're being a little early in the markets. Now we are setting up here, like I mentioned a while back, based off of history here, we are setting up for this cross here. And I do believe that this cross is going to give us the potential to run up to around that 40 range. So I said 39 to around 45. But as we get closer here, you can use shorter term SMAs, but overall, if you want a lot of strength, you'll use some longer term ones, because the shorter terms can give you that indication, but it could not be as strong a move to the upside as what you like. But overall, this is what we're looking at to kind of close this gap here between these two and get that golden cross, and then you'll get that ascension up there. But overall, the room is changing, and I think we are on the cusp of something really big here as far as for crypto becoming mainstream and having an opportunity here, even with Doge, to be a major factor in being the people's currency. Because after this run, I'm sorry, I'm just going to change screens here. After this run, I'll say this cycle or next cycle. Look at shorts running out of here. But after this run, I'll say this cycle or next cycle, Bitcoin is going to be an institutional game. Right, it's going to be hard to convince retailers to buy Bitcoin at 500,000 or something like that, because JP Morgan, BlackRock, and all these other trillion-dollar companies have pumped the price up and say, hey, buy Bitcoin at 500,000, and when it gets to $1 million, you're going to have 100% return, versus buy any other coin really, Ethereum, Doge, and just say, hey, look, this is all you need is 50 million or whatever to get 100% return, versus trillions of dollars in capital to get the same return. right? So people, especially people, if you're looking for a faster return, you're going to look for other opportunities there. And I think this is kind of what that spillover is going to mean, especially for the top 10 crypto, especially if we're able to have uh, opportunities and utility to show that Doge can be used as a currency. So a bigger thing would certainly be if we get those payments on X this year, so especially like paying for like premium and stuff like that in Doge. I don't think people underestimate what that's going to do for the actual coin. But yeah, shorts are running out of here. So not much confidence that they believe in Doge is going to continue to go down. They are absolutely leaving the coin right now in a hurry. So just going to keep in mind, we're going to be charting this over the weekend here, but positioning, DCA, coin count, that's going to be a really big factor going forward. Don't forget that. So if you found value in this video, consider subscribing, like the video, share it with a friend, help us to get to 100,000 subs before Bitcoin gets to 100,000. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.